into the water. And unfortunately, in this situation, the bus driver did drive in, and the engine switched off. It's only at that time that he called. And at that time, the water was quite heavy. The bus was swept away. And I wish to use this opportunity to urge our people to heed those calls, not to take a risk with their lives. For each individual, we've got one life to live. It's not worth any risk. Whether writing exams, whether rushing for work, it is not worth to take a risk when the bridge is not visible and or the water is too high. That's an issue that I wanted to raise. And we'll continue with public education, for people not to reside in these flood lane areas. As the Premier has said, in Port St. John's and other areas. Even here with the municipalities, both district and local, there have been active campaigns for people not to build houses there. But some proceeded to do so, and here we are now, unfortunately. Those are the areas really that I thought let me just, underline as we deal with this unfortunate issue. And we're also encouraging them, those who have relatives, though they are going to get support, blankets and other things, they can go and reside with their relatives. Because whether the church or it's a school, it's a very uncomfortable environment. And therefore, those who have alternative accommodation, we encourage them to do so and then support them with blankets and other things. As we look working with human settlement, both national and here, for alternatives. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, MEC Executive Mayor. If you can touch on perhaps the water issues. I understand that there are some parts of OR Tambo that are still struggling with water, with the infrastructure being damaged. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I will do make the point that part of our infrastructure has been adversely affected, especially communities that are serviced by the Thornhill water station. Fortunately, we are making some progress in fixing, especially the pumps that were affected. Out of the 9 pumps that there are, at least 5 is back on condition. Our teams are working with the remainder, but the sad part is that those parts supply different parts of our communities, especially in the urban spaces, meaning which you still have got areas that do not have water supply. But most fortunately also because of the inroads that we've made in fixing those pumps, at least we have got a source from which to extract water to cut to those communities that currently do not have water. Unfortunately, in some of those areas, we do not have central tanks, but we are working on the distribution of such tanks. But at the same time, a call will be made to all the residents of those communities as and when those trucks are coming to cut water. Once we are sure exactly what is the condition of the pumps that I've said are not yet working, we'll be able to determine if any of them will have to be taken away for fixing, and as such be able to say how long will the blackout take. But we hope for the best if we are to look at the inroads that we've made in terms of those that we've been able to fix. But at the same time, I must do mention as well that also in the areas of Libote, areas that are supplied by Umhlanga Dam, they've also been adversely affected. Our teams are also there. Also the program of cutting to those communities that they have been cut off the supply are afoot, and we trust that by the end of business today, our trucks will be seen visible distributing to those communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Mayor, if you can just give us your own observations.
Thanks a lot. I think what I need to do then is to really echo the observations which the Premier and the MECs have alluded to. Let's applaud the cooperation which we have received from the community, the way they have worked with government in terms of rescue and search from yesterday up to today, the commitment which we have seen of all of us working in one accord in order to make sure that at least the rescue is there, and as well as the search for the bodies who have been recovered. Yes, indeed, it's not a good sight to see the desperation which we have seen of the community in terms of their loss of the valuable assets, as well as the lives and of their members. It has been really a difficult time for all of us to experience that, and I'm sure we have some experience, which is experience for a lifetime, in terms of making sure that we don't experience this the next time, because we have to sit as community, engage community, so that we avoid and make sure that also the bylaws are talking strictly to that, so that we avoid what has happened. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Premier, there's just one last take from SABC, if we can just entertain that. Okay. All right, let's give it another round, the last round. Colleagues, I'm taking the Yaya and then Ronald and Chawen will take it up.
Thank you. Mine, I'm not sure if I should direct this to you as a provincial accounting officer or to the whole accountant.
I'm not a provincial accounting officer.
You are the premier of the province.
Yeah, I'm not accounting officer. Thank you.
Okay, premier, but it's on rescue and search and rescue team. Where are they based? Are they based in East London or Putting Joint? Because the reason I'm asking that question, those who were stuck in trees, the two people, I think it was young people, they were there for more than 6 hours, and my colleagues were found within an hour or two after that incident had happened. But if it took the rescue, search and rescue team more than 6 hours to arrive, one could possibly argue that had you acted promptly, some of the lives could have been saved, and perhaps it will also help in the future to make you seem proactive than reactive.
Just to get to the crux of the matter, Premier. You alluded to the situation here being a severe one, and in fact the disaster is none like what you would have experienced before. Maybe then I guess the question to ask is, I don't know whether it's going to be the province of the Eastern Cape or it's going to be here in Mthatha. Can we perhaps foresee a declaration of disaster? I think that's my question. Thanks.
Thank you very much. When did you come back to SABC?
Just a quick question to the Dr. MEC. We often hear a lot of issues around these disasters, people in low-lying areas or people who build their properties along rivers and dams. Yet we often see these disasters reoccur. Should it be time then to call for more stringent measures from municipalities, stricter bylaws perhaps?
So your question is clear, it's not coming to me straight. Nzigi, thank you very much. The lives were rescued. It could have been worse than what we see, but your question is correct to a larger extent. We are a very vast province. I'm saying this because it's a point that we have been articulating and making each and every time we are experiencing disaster, whether we talk about fighting crime. The point that we've been making and the submission that we've made even nationally is for the additional resources, with understanding that prevention is better than cure. This province can't have one chopper that is based in Nelson Mandela, because our experience is that when the weather is terrible, helicopter cannot take off. So immediately we've got a helicopter that is Nelson Mandela is equal to none. It's not there. It's non-existing. So if you want to get into this site using helicopters, as you have seen today, the work that has been done by helicopters is always difficult. So we've been making this request. I know SABS have got our requests. We were then talking about fighting crime, livestock, stock theft, something like that. So every day, the point of additional resources is actually justified. Surely with national government looking at what has been happening, and as I've said, that we are now, without a doubt, that we are a disaster-prone province, and clearly we will continue experiencing this variety of the global warming or climate change. So it's important that we are able to get to that sort of additional resources. That includes your K9 unit, because if divers are in Nelson Mandela, you can imagine how many hours you drive from Nelson Mandela to here, or if they're in East London. It also takes about 2 to 3 hours to drive to here. So those are kind of challenges that we have, and the greater or the significant part of our population is in this part. The area where we are is 1.4 million, bigger than Nelson Mandela, bigger than the Buffalo City. So surely on resource allocation, we've got to address these the shortcomings as we move ahead. I'm happy that the minister is on his way this side, Minister of Culture, as we continue looking at this issue of disasters, etc., but also integrating resources, national and provincial. How best can we be able to address some of these situations quicker? So thanks God that those 3 lives of kids were saved. But some of people who were found on trees, deceased, it's not the question that they were on trees. You can see that they were going with the kind of the river stream that ended up being hanged in those kind of trees. Yes, we might have lost another life that would have been hanging on a tree, but 3 lives were saved. We don't want to lose a single life. So I think that's the point that we're making, and surely this issue of resource allocation and how best we can address the kind of capacity issues, especially in the rural provinces. You will understand that the funding formula of the country, this funnel approach, more funding national. As you go down to the municipality, you've got literally limited resources to be able to make those kind of necessary interventions. Surely, ministers know, I've been raising this point each and every time there's a disaster, that I can't understand the formula that is used Many of our roads have never been rehabilitated. They have never recovered for the last 5 years. I mean, our surface roads were affected by the disasters. But every time we're submitting this kind of request of disasters, we will never get enough. I know there is no enough resources, all other things being equal. But it's important that we are able to look at this kind of allocation and be able to work in a quite collaborative way to address those kind of resources. Your question, I couldn't...
Will there be a declaration of
Yes, definitely. With the way things are, I know that's regulated. It will follow the process. The MEC was covering that aspect. But from where I am, the fact that we're talking about 49 people who have been accounted for deceased, that's a disaster on its own. So more than 400 here displaced, more than 500 in Ngoma, Butterworth, because the declaration of the province will be able to look and cover all the aspects. That's the work that is being done now, because municipalities, districts must be able to lead that particular aspect up to the MEC. So surely very soon we'll be able to have the EXCO meeting in the next few days, but we can only meet when we've got the real-time data and with all the necessary information that we can apply our minds on. Hence, we have dispatched or deployed all our teams to gather all the necessary information that will inform that decision-making. So clearly, it's a serious issue, and I can tell you, if you were not there, it's quite horrific. It's something that is really unparalleled from where I'm sitting. It's terrible, that what I've just observed. Let me see. Your friend was visited me.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. Well, the fundamental challenge that we are facing in terms of the construction of houses in low-lying areas, that is as a result of forceful illegal occupation of land by communities. That scramble for land results in communities disregarding any laws. There's no lack of legislation. There are bylaws in King Sabata Dalinja municipality. There are zoning schemes. There's spatial framework that is approved in the municipality, which actually identifies which areas are suitable for what kind of development. If you look at the area that has been affected majorly by these storms, they are clearly, without any doubt, even from a person who is not a professional town planner, they are clearly in low-lying areas on the banks of a stream. And if you look at the strength of the storm when it was wiping everything in front of it, it just takes everything that is on the banks of that river. And I'm saying that challenge requires us, because we can't come back and say those communities are still remaining there, because the inclement weather, climate change is indicating that the magnitude of rain we're getting is abnormal. It's very high, because the rainfall that we've experienced there, it was predicted at 100%, and when the Weather Service issued to us a warning, it was rated at level 6, and the snow was rated at level 5. And when you look at how quick the water collected into that big body, you can see that those communities may not survive the next storms that may be confronting us. And therefore, we'll have to persuade those communities to quickly move away from the flood lines. Because clearly, if you look in all the areas that are affected, unfortunately, is areas below the flood line. And that also has to do with allocation of land by traditional authorities, and that sometimes does not follow the zoning schemes that are legislated in terms of the municipality and the bylaws. So we'll have to streamline our work, which we have already started as COCTA, because we said headmen must now get closer to the department so that we don't have many people dealing with issues of land without proper coordination, because that is what is going to put our people into crisis like this. And I'm saying, therefore, that's a matter that we need to consult communities through KSD and all other municipalities so that we clear the people from the flood line. I think we have witnessed, all of us, the danger of being in those areas when the eye of the storm is such strong. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thank you, Premier, MECs, and Mayor's colleagues. I think we've come to the end of our briefing, and we will continue as new information comes to us. We will then continue to update you in terms of what you communicate. Thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you.
I just uzawubetha isikhundla ke nezinye izinto.
Hayi nguwe